Battle for Bihar resumes today with polling for 50 assembly seats as part of the third phase of assembly elections. The third phase of polls will witness battle of ballots in Mahua, Raghopur, from where two sons of RJD President Lalu Prasad Yadav are in the fray. This round of polling will also see Lalu Prasad's political turf of Saran, which has 10 assembly seats, and the 7-seat Nalanda home district of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar also go to the polls. The 50 seats in the third phase is spread across Patna, Vaishali, Saran, Nalanda, Buxar and Bhojpur districts, where a total of 1.45 crore electors are going to decide the fate of 808 candidates. Besides Tej Pratap Yadav and Tejaswi Yadav, other prominent politicians whose fate would be decided in this round are BJP leader Nand Kishore Yadav, Pashupati Kumar Paras, who is the brother of LJP chief Ramvilas Paswan, and Vivek Thakur, who is the son of former Union Minister C.P. Thakur. All right, for on-ground perspective, we'll be joined in by Manogya Loiwal from Patna and Jugal Purohit from Nalanda. In the studio at this moment, I have Mr. Ajit Kumar Jha, senior journalist, who joins us this morning. Morning, sir. As well as Ashok Malik, senior journalist, who joins us in the Delhi studio. Mr. Jha, how do you look at this phase? Is this going to be the absolute decider as far as swinging things possibly in the BJP's favor?
That's true, actually, Sanket. The third phase and the fourth phase are supposed to be the BJP's strongholds, whereas the first two phases and the last phase are considered the so-called Gathbandhan sort of strongholds. So in a way, it's the clincher. I mean, there is an impression that has gained ground that the BJP was doing tremendously well before the elections, but in the first two phases, the BJP hasn't, the performance is not as good as they expected. So this is in a way the deciding elections, this particular phase, today's phase, is in a way, despite the fact that it's also in a way the stronghold of Nitish Kumar, because after all Nalanda is going to polls, and Nalanda is his constituency, Lok Sabha constituency in the past. To some extent also Lalu Yadav's strength area, Saran especially, because I mean, both his sons are contesting from there. Raghopur has always been the pocket borough of the RJD. So, yeah, it's a tough contest. But I think still, Patna, for example, is a place where the BJP has swept polls in Lok Sabha, in Bidhan Sabha. So I think the BJP should do better compared to the last two phases.
Okay. Mr. Malik, is that the perception that you also carry, that this is going to be absolutely significant, and that is why the BJP went all out over this gap between phase 2 and phase 3, the gap of 12 days. It went all out for campaigning in this phase.
Is absolutely right. The first phase and the last phase are seen as generally seen as weak for the BJP. Not so much the second phase, I would say. And certainly the third and fourth phase are seen as the two phases where the BJP can maximize its seats. If you look at the 50 seats up for grabs today, 42 of them went to the JDU BJP combined the last time. So it's that strong a region for the BJP and for the JDU in terms of who will inherit the legacy of that 10-year government which they ran. And the BJP is up against a lot of challenges today. It's up against the RJD, it's up against the JDU, it's up against Shatrughan Sinha, who's doing his best to damage the BJP in Patna, despite being a BJP MP. So,
okay. I don't know whether you've read this morning's edition of the Mail today. But it talks about, I mean, their report actually talks about claiming that the youth may not go with the Grand Alliance for its association with Lalu. Do you think that this is a valid concern that some people have?
You see, the assessments we are getting from there, I haven't been there, but the assessments we're getting from there is this. There is no anti-incumbency hostility towards
Nitish Kumar. Absolutely.
There is a lot of hostility and antipathy towards Lalu from some sections. Many people, including younger Yadavs, his own community, see him as a 1990s leftover. Now, if that is indeed true, then the BJP would have reason to celebrate. But of course, that has to be tested on the ground.
Okay. Let's cut across now to Tejaswi Yadav, one of the son of Lalu Prasad Yadav, who is in the fray, electoral fray this time around. Let's hear what he's saying.
उनकी भी बहू को आपने क्यों मंत्री बना करके सेट करने का काम किया? तो ये सारे जवाब जो हैं उनको भी देने का काम करना चाहिए। हालांकि कोई लड़ाई यहाँ बची नहीं है और जिस हिसाब से बीजेपी में खुद अंदरूनी जो लड़ाई चल रही है, ये प्रधानमंत्री जी का भविष्य खतरे में उनको नजर आ रहा है, इसलिए वो अपने नीचे स्तर पर आकर के इस तरह की बयानबाजी करने का काम कर रहा है।
तो आप लोगों को पूरी उम्मीद है कि ये चुनाव आप लोग जीत रहे हैं?
जी जी, उसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है। हम लोग काफी अच्छे से वन साइडेड हम लोग जीतने का काम करेंगे हर जगह से।
तो ये थे तेजस्वी यादव जो
All right, that was Tejaswi Yadav. He is in the electoral fray this time around and he appears to be confident. Well, politicians have to appear confident while the polling is underway. Let's get a ground perspective from Nalanda, which is considered the stronghold of the JDU. India Today's Jugal Purohit joins us now. Morning, Jugal. You were giving us a very elaborate perspective on the ground as to how the stakes are very high for someone like a Nitish Kumar. Just take us through what are the initial trends that you are picking up from your conversation with people, because contrary to Patna, where we saw urban apathy play out, where people are yet to flock in large numbers, Nalanda is a different story at 8 a.m.
Absolutely, Sanket. In fact, we've been here from 6:30, and believe it or not, people were out here at 6:45.
Show us around a little.
Inside, and there was a queue at that time as well. So
show us around a little.
It's a situation which you don't see very often. Of course, my camera person Madan will just zoom in and tell you the pictures that we are seeing in front of us out here. It's just one of the several polling centers dotting the landscape. And of course, this picture tells you all that there is to know. But if we are to look at Nalanda, and as we were just discussing in the studio discussion, it has been a stronghold of the BJP, of the JDU combined, and this is for the first time since 1996, or perhaps even before, that these two are not fighting on a single plank. It's for the first time that they've splintered and are now in opposing camps. If you are to see the kind of discourse that Nalanda has seen, it has been also, in a way, a presidential sort of a discourse. Narendra Modi on the 25th came here. He spoke 9 times. He called Nitish as the Loktantrik chief minister, referring to the expose of sorts that Giriraj Singh had fished out that particular episode of. And in response, Nitish Kumar spoke about how Modi needs to return to the people the old days. They don't want the Achhe Din. They wanted the days which they anyways had and which they've lost now. So the discourse also has been extremely bitter, has been personal, has perhaps on occasions been below the belt.
Absolutely.
And Nalanda, in that sense, as a constituency that Nitish Kumar wants to defend tooth and nail, and the BJP wants to make inroads, obviously, for its symbolic
in effect,
value.
what Jugal is actually mentioning,
right,
Mr. Jha, what Jugal is actually mentioning is that the reason why perhaps the campaign got so vitriolic over the past 12 days was because the BJP feels that this is where they need to go all out. And that is why you saw whether it was a tantric comment, all sorts of comments, and we saw Bihar elections in its elements, quite literally, in this particular campaigning, in this phase of campaigning.
Absolutely. You know, the rhetoric has completely changed. I mean, take the BJP, for example. The BJP's rhetoric to begin with, I mean, before the elections and right when the elections began, was largely development. The big package for Bihar, after that, all kinds of promises were made. And now you find the BJP rhetoric has moved towards Mandal. I mean, in Buxar, for example, just day before yesterday, the Prime Minister claimed that he is also an MBC. Amit Shah claimed that ye pichhadon ke pradhan mantri hain. So the whole rhetoric has now shifted from, let's say, development to Mandal, even for the BJP. If you look at Nitish Kumar, when he began, in reply to the Prime Minister's rhetoric, he was also talking himself as a development hero. And now he talks of Bahari versus Bihari. He is the Bihari and Prime Minister is Bahari. So suddenly it takes on a vitriolic rhetoric, as you said. I mean, this is almost like the Shiv Sena rhetoric, which Nitish Kumar is using.
Absolutely. So those are pictures that you see on your screen of the former Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Mr. Sushil Modi, casting his or exercising his electoral right. He is voting at this present moment. Many say that he could in fact be the BJP's chief ministerial face if the NDA were to come to power, because he was the quiet Modi of Bihar, quite literally. Mr. Malik, how do you look at, number one, the BJP's prospects this time around, and also that interesting point that Mr. Jha was making about the BJP also realizing that it needs to talk a little bit of mandal, a little bit of caste?
To be fair, it has been emphasizing, the BJP has been emphasizing Modi's OBC status, and he is an OBC.
For a very long time.
Yeah, for a long time, including in Bihar and UP in 2014 during the Lok Sabha campaign. So this is not something new. And in terms of rhetoric and sort of vitriolic statements, frankly, in a 6-week election campaign, both sides give as good as they get. The Lalu hasn't exactly been saying very sweet things about Modi either. So election campaigns are not a nursery party. Let's face it. They tend to get dirty. People roll up their sleeves, and even prime ministers need to come down to the ground as campaigners. Even someone who's seen as a development icon, written double quotes as Nitish Kumar, has to get down to
but then
politics.
Would you agree with the assessment of someone like Shatrughan Sinha? And we'll play out that. Let's cue that reaction of Shatrughan Sinha where he spoke to India Today. We'll let you also listen to what Shatrughan Sinha actually said. Let's see if the producers have that clip ready with them of Shatrughan Sinha speaking to India Today and actually mentioning what perhaps could be wrong in the Bharatiya Janata Party. He in fact went on to say, while we cue that tape, he in fact went on to say that why is the campaign so negative in nature? Why is the BJP's campaign so negative in nature? And that in a way also shows perhaps some sort of a frustration of the BJP. How do you look at this assessment? Is he correct in saying this?
I think it's true to some extent because, I mean, for example, what Ashok pointed out, that even in 2014, the BJP was talking about the Prime Minister as an OBC, MBC candidate. But look at what the RSS chief said just before the election. The RSS chief talked about reservation on the basis of an economic criteria.
Absolutely.
Now suddenly that hit the BJP so badly that they are now sort of outsmarting the so-called Gathbandhan in terms of proving its Mandal card. So elections are a game of strategy. Right? Whatever your opponent does, you do differently. The other problem with the BJP is Shatrughan Sinha himself, who has been openly critical of the BJP, and for example, R.K. Sinha, the Home Secretary. I mean, he's today, for example, pointed out that he's not going to vote. Now, on the day of the election, if he's making a statement like
this
that,
doesn't send the right message.
It doesn't send the right message at all.
Let's go across to Nalanda once again, where Jugal Purohit is joined with someone. Yes, Jugal, it's over to you.
Well, Sanket, this someone is one who you don't meet very often. 8-time MLA from Rajgir and contesting for the 9th time. आर्य साहब, आज अभी आप अपना मत डाल के आए हैं. क्या आपके अंदर अभी फीलिंग है? और आप मुझे कुछ बता रहे थे प्रशासन के बारे में. क्या कहना चाहेंगे इस समय?
अभी जो मतदान हो रहा है ना, मैंने अपना मतदान तो कर दिया, लेकिन व्यवस्था में कमी है, क्योंकि मशीन जो रखने का चाहिए था टेबल वो नहीं है. ये प्रशासन का दोष है कि मैनेजमेंट उसने नहीं किया, इसलिए मैनेजमेंट उसको इमीडिएट करना चाहिए. दूसरा कि जो बूथ में मैंने अपना मतदान किया, लाइट में भी कमी है, जिससे बटन दबाने में लोगों को दिक्कत हो रहा है.
यहाँ पे वैसे आपका क्या आकलन है इस इलाके में? कहा जाता है नीतीश कुमार का गढ़ है एक तरह से.
नीतीश कुमार का गढ़ नहीं, मेरा भी तो जन्मभूमि है ना. मेरा गढ़ है, वहाँ नीतीश का कुछ नहीं है. यहाँ जो कुछ है सदैव नारायण आर्य एमएलए का है. उनको तो मैंने बनाया है, नहीं तो बाढ़ से हार गए थे. हारने के बाद यहाँ मारे चल रहे थे, उनको शरण में हम ही लोग दिया. नालंदा जिला से उसको हम लोग एमपी बना करके मिनिस्टर बनाया. 1 बार नहीं 2 बार 3 बार मौका दिया उसको. इसलिए उसका गढ़ उड़ कुछ नहीं है. ये बात बिल्कुल निराधार है कि उसका गढ़ है. गढ़ होता तो फिर लोकसभा में मैंने यहाँ से भी 20 से लीड उसको दिया, और आज भी कोशिश में है कि मैं जीतूं. लेकिन वो चाह रहा कि कैंडिडेट यहाँ हम हैं. मतलब कि नीतीश कुमार ही कैंडिडेट यहाँ एज ए कैंडिडेट लड़ रहा, नहीं कि कैंडिडेट जो है उसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, क्योंकि यहाँ का रहने वाला भी नहीं है. पुलिस में एक इंस्पेक्टर था, उससे रिजाइन करके आया, दरभंगा का रहने वाला. इसलिए यहाँ के पब्लिक जो है उसको निराकार कर दिया.
मतलब कमल खिलेगा यहाँ पे, इसका आपको पूरा गारंटी?
निश्चित पूरा से, और अच्छा वोट से खिलेगा.
Sanket, 40 years of experience as a legislator, contesting for 45 now. That's the BJP sitting MLA Satyanarayan Arya for you. Back to you.
Absolutely. Jugal Purohit, many thanks for joining us at this moment.